Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a fascinating practice that seamlessly blends the physical with the spiritual. We're looking at Wudu, which is the Islamic procedure for cleansing parts of the body. Now, just to give you some context on the sheer scale of this, we're talking about a routine performed up to 5 times a day by nearly 2 billion people around the globe. It literally anchors the daily rhythms of a massive portion of humanity. But as you'll see from our source material today, calling it just a simple washing routine, well, that would be missing the point entirely. It is a profound, step-by-step journey of purification.
Take a look at the wonderfully illustrated guide we're examining today. It perfectly captures the essence of this practice. What I find truly captivating here is how it maps out the 10 exact physical actions through these meticulous, almost vintage-style illustrations, while simultaneously anchoring them in a very heavy spiritual weight. You can see the progression flowing right down from step 1 to step 10, ending with some really powerful philosophical insights at the bottom. It's essentially a perfect roadmap of how a physical action translates into a spiritual state.
Here is our agenda for this explainer. First, the purpose of Wudu. Second, beginning the purification. Third, cleansing face and arms. Fourth, finishing the ritual. And finally, the spiritual connection. Starting off with Section 1, the purpose of Wudu, preparing body and soul. Before we even get into the mechanics of the washing itself, we really need to establish the overarching theme presented in our source. Just listen to this powerful quote pulled directly from the footer of the document. Wudu is not just a routine, it's a beautiful act of purification that prepares our body and soul for prayer. By placing this at the very foundation of the practice, it sets the emotional and spiritual stakes for everything that follows, The physical cleanliness achieved here isn't just about hygiene. You aren't just washing dirt off your hands. You're consciously preparing your entire being to step out of this busy secular world and into a state of divine connection. It frames water not just as a physical solvent, but as a metaphysical cleanser meant to ready the individual for an intimate appointment with the divine. Moving right along to Section 2, beginning the purification, the first steps. Now, what's really interesting here is how the physical act of washing actually begins before a single drop of water even touches the skin. Look at how the ritual initiates. Step 1 is simply to say, Bismillah. It's a vocal action. The vocal cords engage before the hands ever do. Only after that psychological and verbal intention is set do we move to step 2, which is washing the hands. You're grounding your mind before you cleanse your body, which really goes to show that the intentionality behind the action is absolutely just as important as the action itself.
So, what is Bismillah? Well, it's the opening Arabic phrase used to initiate the ritual, and it translates to, in the name of God. Our source beautifully scripts it in Arabic calligraphy right up in the top left corner. This entire 10-step process is rooted in this mindful verbal initiation. It acts kind of like a key turning a lock, a very deliberate choice to pause, step out of the mundane distractions of the day, and step into a sacred headspace. By invoking this phrase, the practitioner is essentially declaring that the washing they're about to do isn't just for physical upkeep, but is a dedicated act of worship.
All right, Section 3, cleansing face and arms flowing downward. Notice how this sequence targets the upper body in a really logical flowing order. After the hands are cleansed, the ritual works its way methodically across the face. Let's trace the flow of water here. Step 3, you rinse the mouth 3 times. Step 4, you draw water to rinse the nose 3 times. Step 5, you wash the entire face 3 times. Just imagine the soothing, rhythmic sensation of water in this sequence. It's this deliberate, calming repetition that washes over the senses, cooling the face, clearing the airways, and refreshing the very organs we use to communicate, breathe, and observe the world around us. Actually, I want to pause right here and emphasize a recurring number in this sequence, 3. As we go through these steps, look at how frequently the instruction to repeat an action 3 times anchors this purification process. There is a deep psychology to this repetition. You see, doing something once can be a hasty, mindless splash. Doing it twice shows effort. But doing it 3 times, that forces the practitioner to slow down. It builds a cadence. It prevents the whole thing from becoming a rushed chore, ensuring a thorough, repeated commitment to cleanliness and mindfulness at every single stage. Continuing that steady, rhythmic pacing, we move to the arms. Step 6 is to wash the right hand from fingertips to elbow 3 times. Step 7 mirrors this on the left side. Wash the left hand from fingertips to elbow 3 times. So the crucial point here is paying close attention to the specific physical boundaries outlined in our source. Why such specific boundaries? Because every inch of that area, from the fingertips all the way up to the elbow, must be intentionally touched by water. It's a comprehensive cleansing of the limbs that interact most with the physical world, all while maintaining that grounding rule of 3.
Now for Section 4, finishing the ritual, head to toe. Let's see how this builds as we walk through the final stages. Having cleansed the face and arms, the guide now takes us to the final physical extremities, literally moving from the top of the head down to the toes. But notice the distinct change in Step 8. The instruction here is to wipe the head and ear once. It temporarily breaks the established pattern of 3 for a single mindful sweep over the head and ears. But then, as we reach the foundation of the body, we return right back to that familiar rhythm. Step 9. Wash the right foot till the ankles, 3 times. Step 10. Wash the left foot to the ankles, 3 times. There's a real poetic insight here, too. By ending with the feet, the practitioner is literally grounding themselves to the earth, entirely refreshed from top to bottom, right before they stand upright for prayer.
Finally, Section 5, the spiritual connection, the ultimate payoff.
We've looked at the physical mechanics, right? We've traced the flow of water from the hands to the face to the feet, but it begs a massive question. After diligently performing these 10 specific steps, up to 5 times a day, carefully washing 3 times, wiping the head, washing down to the ankles, what is the true reward of this routine? Why go through this precise order every single time before prayer? Well, the source lays out 3 incredibly powerful spiritual outcomes for completing this ritual, and they elevate this practice far, far beyond mere hygiene. First, it states that it washes away our sins. The metaphor here is profound. It suggests that just as the physical water falls from the skin into the sink, invisible spiritual burdens and minor sins fall right away with it, leaving the person spiritually lighter. Second, it brings barakah in our day. Now, barakah is often translated simply as blessings, but it implies so much more than that. It implies growth, increase, and a sort of spiritual productivity in your daily tasks. It means your time, energy, and efforts throughout the day are infused with a divine efficiency and grace. And third, it connects us with Allah. It bridges that gap between the mortal, everyday routine and the divine presence, offering a direct, purified line of communication.
The document closes with this gentle, deeply encouraging instruction. Let's make wudu with love, follow each step properly, and gain the rewards of cleanliness and obedience. And this brilliantly illustrates a beautiful synthesis. I just find it so fascinating that a document outlining a very strict 10-step physical protocol concludes with the word love. It tells us that obedience and physical cleanliness are really meant to merge into a genuine act of devotion. It's never meant to be viewed as a strict, burdensome chore, but rather as an opportunity, an act of care performed joyfully.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating thought to take away from this explainer today. Whether you practice this specific ritual or not, just consider the mindset it requires. How might approaching our own daily routines with that same level of intentionality, love, and care transform them from mundane chores into acts of spiritual reward? When we act mindfully, when we slow down and set an intention, even the simple act of washing our hands can become a moment of profound reset in a chaotic day. Think about how you can incorporate that mindfulness into your own routines. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.